Lewis Hamilton's greatest Ferrari weekend was torn apart in 10 seconds. The FIA ruled him guilty of gaining an advantage, but the world saw something very different. Hamilton exploded over the radio. "That's bulls, man." Yet behind the anger was brilliance, a comeback drive that proved why he's still the gold standard of Formula One. When the lights went out, the Ferrari SF-25 launched like lightning. Hamilton's reaction was flawless, smooth clutch release, perfect traction, zero drama. For a moment, it felt like the old days, the precision of a man who's mastered every millimeter of a Formula One start. Ahead, Norris covered the inside. Behind, Verstappen darted left, hungry, reckless. Hamilton threaded the gap with pure instinct, carving through chaos as if the track belonged to him. By turn 1, 3 cars fought for the same apex. Contact was inevitable. Verstappen lunged too deep, clipped Hamilton's left front, and sent both men skating over the tarmac runoff. A flash of dust, a scream of engines, and then silence again. Hamilton kept it alive, straightened the Ferrari, and rejoined ahead. The crowd erupted. Commentators lost their voices. "Incredible control," yelled Croft. "He's still ahead." For a brief moment, it looked like everything was under control. Ferrari's garage exhaled. Vasseur nodded on the pit wall. "Good recovery, Lewis," came the voice from his engineer. But inside that calm came the sting. On the FIA's control screen, a small yellow message appeared, "Incident involving cars 1 and 44 under investigation." The words that make every driver's heart sink. Hamilton had seen that phrase too many times before. A few laps later, the inevitable happened. Car 44, 10-second time penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. It hit like a punch. 10 seconds enough to erase everything he'd fought for. The Ferrari garage went silent again, disbelief hanging in the air. 10 seconds? For what? Vasseur barked, slamming his headset onto the desk. Engineers checked the GPS data. Hamilton had lifted off after rejoining, losing speed, not gaining any advantage. The telemetry proved it, yet the stewards ruled against him. It wasn't just harsh, it was inconsistent. Verstappen had run off the track twice, no call. Hamilton did it once to avoid contact, and he was punished. Inside the cockpit, Hamilton's radio crackled to life. "Lewis, we got a 10-second penalty." For a second, nothing. Then came the response, quiet but cutting. "That's bulls, man. He hit me. I had nowhere to go." The voice wasn't angry, it was exhausted, heavy with disbelief. 22 seasons in Formula One, 7 world titles, and still the same story. But after that single sentence, something shifted. You could almost hear the gears turning in his mind. All right, he thought, if they want to take 10 seconds, I'll take 10 back. The FIA's message dropped like a hammer on lap 7. Car 44, 10-second time penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. Inside the Ferrari garage, disbelief turned instantly into chaos. Engineers leaned over their monitors, scrolling through telemetry data as if they'd misread it. Fred Vasseur stood motionless for a second, eyes locked on the timing screen, before ripping off his headset. 10 seconds. For that. He avoided contact, he shouted. Around him, the tension was electric. The data told a clear story. Hamilton had lifted off through turn 4, lost 2/10, and rejoined safely. No advantage gained, no offense committed, but the stewards had already decided. On the pit wall, silence fell. You could feel the frustration radiating through the team radio. Hamilton's race engineer, Riccardo Adami, took a deep breath before speaking. "Lewis, penalty confirmed. 10 seconds. What came next was pure Hamilton. No panic, no outburst. Just quiet disbelief. "That's ridiculous. He pushed me off. You saw it," he said, tone steady but laced with steel. A pause. Then, "All right. Tell me what I need to do." That's how he processes injustice. Not by shouting, but by recalculating. He doesn't dwell, he adapts. From that moment, Hamilton changed. His frustration didn't fade, it focused. He started managing the race differently, transforming anger into precision. Every corner became an equation, every lap a statement. Brake bias forward by 2 clicks. Differential tight in mid-corner. Short shift out of turn 7 to protect the rears. He wasn't just driving, he was orchestrating. On the monitors, his telemetry looked like art, smooth, controlled, perfect. One Ferrari engineer whispered, "He's rewriting our data in real time." That's the kind of brilliance only Hamilton brings, the fusion of instinct and intellect. Meanwhile, the FIA's decision sent shockwaves through the paddock. Commentators on Sky couldn't contain their disbelief. "That's extremely harsh," said Brundle. "Both cars went off, but only one gets punished." The fans saw it too. Social media erupted with a single sentiment: double standards. It wasn't the first time the FIA's judgment had raised eyebrows, and it certainly wouldn't be the last. But what made this moment different was Hamilton's reaction. He didn't spiral into chaos. He turned the narrative around. "We make those 10 seconds irrelevant," he told his engineer. Simple, confident, unbreakable. Inside the Ferrari garage, you could feel the atmosphere shift. The frustration was still there, but now it had a direction. Hamilton began pushing harder, shaving tenths off every lap. The SF-25 wasn't built for the Mexican altitude. The hybrid system struggled. The brakes were on fire. The engine gasped for oxygen, but he made it sing. "He's driving it like he's programming it," said one of the team analysts. "Every lap, he's finding performance that isn't supposed to exist." That's what Hamilton does better than anyone. He adapts faster than the situation can break him. On the screens, purple sectors began flashing next to his name. Ferrari's engineers stared in disbelief. "He's matching Leclerc's pace," Adami said, "on older tires, with a penalty pending." Vasseur turned to his strategy team, voice calmer now. "Let him do it. Just let him drive." The tone in the garage changed from despair to awe. They weren't watching damage control anymore. They were watching a master at work, turning a race that should have been over into a showcase of what makes him one of the greatest drivers in history. As the laps ticked by, you could sense what was happening. The FIA had handed Hamilton a punishment. But what he was delivering in return wasn't anger, it was poetry. Lap after lap, corner after corner, he was erasing the injustice not with words, but with speed. He wasn't racing Verstappen anymore. He wasn't racing the stewards. He was racing the principle of unfairness itself and winning. At over 2,000 meters above sea level, Mexico City isn't just a racetrack, it's an engineering nightmare. The thin air starves engines of oxygen, overheats the brakes, and destroys aerodynamic balance. For Ferrari's SF-25, it was the ultimate stress test. The car was quick in qualifying, but fragile on race day, unstable in slow corners, struggling to cool its power unit, and running dangerously hot through the rear axle. For most drivers, that would have meant survival mode. But Lewis Hamilton isn't most drivers. In his hands, a fragile car becomes an instrument. And that Sunday in Mexico, he played it like a symphony. From lap 10 onwards, Hamilton's radio sounded more like a conversation between an engineer and a machine than a driver and a team. "Rear brakes are hot," his engineer warned. "Copy, moving bias forward," he replied instantly. 2 corners later, temperatures dropping. "Leave it." He wasn't reacting, he was anticipating. He could feel what the sensors hadn't yet shown. That's his gift, to read the car through the seat of his pants, to understand the data before it arrives. "He's managing the system himself," Ferrari's chief strategist said, half in awe. "He's faster than the numbers." Telemetry confirmed it. Where Leclerc and Norris were losing pace due to thermal degradation, Hamilton's traces were clean, smooth brake pressure, consistent throttle modulation, no erratic energy recovery. The Ferrari SF-25, infamous for being unpredictable, suddenly looked stable. "He's doing things with that car it shouldn't be able to do," said Brundle on commentary. And he was right. Hamilton was creating rhythm where chaos should have reigned, driving in harmony with the machine, not against it. Every input was precise, every correction invisible. That's not just speed, that's artistry. The penalty had dropped him down the order, but the comeback was beginning. On lap 24, Ferrari called him in to serve the 10 seconds. Pit stop, 2.3 seconds for tires, 10 more for punishment. 12 seconds of stillness. Cameras caught the moment Hamilton sitting motionless, visor down, the Mexican heat radiating off the asphalt. The world watched. 10 seconds that felt like a lifetime. Then, the green light. The Ferrari roared back to life, tires spinning, dust flying. "Box clear," his engineer said. "Copy. Let's get to work," Hamilton replied. That one sentence was the tone of his entire career. Calm defiance. Rejoining in 14th, he began to climb. Joe Hulkenberg, lost and gone within laps. No reckless lunges, no desperation. Just precision. Turn 1 after turn 1, the same story. Brake late, rotate cleanly, power early. His movements looked effortless, but the onboard camera told the truth, the steering wheel twitching under his fingertips as the Ferrari fought for balance. Every lap was a calculation between physics and feel. The car was on the edge of thermal failure, yet he was still pushing to within a tenth of the leaders. "He's driving angry," said Croft, "but it's the right kind of angry." What stunned Ferrari's engineers wasn't just his pace, it was how he did it. Hamilton had effectively changed the car's behavior without touching a single setup tool. He was adjusting everything manually: brake migration, engine modes, diff settings, sculpting stability out of instability. "He's reprogramming the car from the cockpit," one of Ferrari's performance analysts said, shaking his head. "You can't teach that." For Hamilton, this wasn't survival, it was expression. Years of instinct and precision distilled into a single performance. By lap 45, Ferrari's data told a remarkable story. His rear tire degradation curve was flatter than anyone's in the top 10. His brake temperatures, once critical, were back in range. His ERS deployment was consistent, even at altitude. It was engineering perfection executed by human intuition. "He's managing everything better than the model predicted," said Vasseur on the radio. "It's unbelievable." And it was. No simulator could replicate it. No algorithm could predict it. It was experience pure, hard-earned experience. On lap 50, Hamilton overtook Russell into turn 4 with a move so clinical it looked rehearsed. The Mercedes driver tried to fight back, but Hamilton had already calculated 3 moves ahead. DRS open, minimal wheel spin, straight back to the racing line. As he powered out of the corner, his engineer's voice cracked through the radio. "Beautiful, Lewis." His reply, "Still a long way to go." That's Hamilton even when perfect, never satisfied. From the pit wall, Fred Vasseur couldn't hide his admiration. "He's keeping this car alive by sheer feel," he said. The rest of the garage fell silent, watching the telemetry in disbelief. They weren't just witnessing a recovery drive. They were witnessing a masterclass in mechanical empathy, the rare art of understanding a car as a living thing.